Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HOU Bull Cast show. I'm your host, Aaron, and let's get into it. We're talking Texans football, as we always do. Uh, this is a key episode that I wanted to do because it's based off of a certain position that is a reason why this line did struggle, a reason why we did lose certain games, especially this past game in the division round against the Patriots, who we now see, playing the Super Bowl. I'm making this video before the Super Bowl, so we'll see the outcome of what happens if the Patriots do win the Super Bowl or not. I got the Seahawks winning, but um, you know, there's a lot of fans, especially Texas fans that know we should be in the Super Bowl, but due to the ineptitude of our offense, the bad just execution of how this offense was in that Patriots game, aside from the defense was as great as they are, and I believe they will be this way next season. But the main topics of this offseason are going to be based on this offense, and that's for sure. Uh, we bashed on CJ for these past few weeks. It was definitely his fault, but we got to put fault on certain other positions of the offense. Say the lack of talent on the running back position, the inexperience of the wide receiver position, and the bit of struggle on the offensive line. Listen, we get it. The offensive line at the beginning of the season was a mess. It was rotation after rotation after rotation, but Cole Popovich did his best, and he did well, exceeding expectations on this offensive line throughout this entire season heading into the playoffs. And, as you saw, CJ Stroud was sacked way less compared to last year, when last year it was just terrible. Even if we had Laramie, Titus, as well as Shaq Mason, but we had to make changes, and those changes were made for the better. But there's one key position on that offensive line that was pretty terrible, and that was the center position between two players, Jake Andrews and Jarrett Patterson. Jarrett Patterson wasn't getting that many snaps in because Jake Andrews was the certified center. He is a previous Patriots player, so as we are the Patriots of the South, getting any Patriots players, previous Patriot coaches, we're just that team. And Jake Andrews, he was serviceable, but in key games, it was he was going to have the definite struggles, and that's what happened in his past Patriots games throughout the season. Jake Andrews a lot of missed snaps to CJ, a lot of miscommunications to CJ with drop balls, missnapped hikes like the Steelers game. Just a lot of miscommunication from that center position. And when you're a coach, you can do your best, but if it's a player like Jake Andrews who isn't playing up to the level you hope, you gotta make a replacement. But we're gonna go over Jake Andrews though, because he is still under contract for another year, so I believe he still will be on this team. But I truly don't believe he'll be the starter for this team. But we'll still get into Jake Andrews. Jake Andrews, who is 6'3", about 380 pounds, 26 years old, so he's still young. He's still a young center, but he's more of a backup center. If we're going to be honest, that's why we need to replace him. Like I said, he's under contract with Houston for through the 2026 season, so he will still be here. The only thing I'll be upset about is if he's starter, because if he's starter again, we just can't deal with that unless we draft a center and Jake Andrews is a starter until the rookie center is ready, which I'd hope he is under the coaching of Cole Popovich. But like I said about Jake Andrews, he's played 1,093 snaps under center for Houston in 2020. In this 2025 season, he had 6 penalties against him, allowed 1 sack, total of 14 pressures, allowed 1 hit as well. His overall PFF grade is about 61. His pass blocking grade is 67, and his run blocking grade is 59. So, as you see with the grades, as you hear about the grades, this is the reason why our run game was terrible, because the run blocking was terrible. With somebody like him graded at a 59, his pass blocking, as soon as he hiked the ball, you felt like he was going to get pushed around because he is on the shorter side of a center of 6'3", 6'3", 6'2", and that's what we're going to do too as well with these players that I believe we should go after, whether they be rookies, whether they be free agents. It's all based on size, and with the size of defense tackles now in the NFL, it's kind of one where you got to make sure you have the right sized blocker to protect your quarterback, like center, like the center position. Uh, but with his size, with his short size, you saw him get demolished in the Patriots game. That's why we threw in Jared Patterson, the backup, and Jared Patterson got blown up as well because he wasn't ready as well. But so the pass and run blocking were not that great. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't like the most terrible center in the league, but he was bad. He's not the guy you hope will be the center for the future. It's one guy that you have on 1 year, which is what we got him on a 1 year deal. He's still under contract with us, yes, but he was still under 1 year deal for his new team on the Texans. And we didn't address the center position. We addressed the guard position, tackle position, which did good. We drafted Ariante Ersry, when signed Trent Brown, Titus moved to right guard. Well, the guard position in general, and you saw that you saw the development exceed. But the center position is something we didn't address, and it showed throughout the season with Jake Andrews at center. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to go over three free agents first, and then I'm going to go over three rookies first, getting over the market value, draft value on if we can get them. You know what I mean? But let's get into it. When we talk about free agency, the number one center that everybody's talking about is 6'2", 305 pounds, 25 years old, and that is the young star, Tyler Linderbaum. There's a lot of chatter about where he's going, whether it be the Giants, whether they be sticking with the Ravens under a bigger contract. Texans can go after him, but they will have to give the bag to Tyler Linderbaum, and we'll see if that happens. He's like I say, he's coming off of Ravens after they declined his fifth-year option. So far, from what I've seen, his market value is 4 years and $70 to $80 million per year. So that is a lot. That's why I say Texans will have to throw the bag at him if they want to acquire him, because that's about maybe about 20 mil guaranteed each year. So it's kind of like do you after it? But he's played at center for Baltimore for 1,007 snaps. At center, like I said, he's 26th in the league as a center in sacks allowed. Only allowed 2 sacks this season. 26th in penalties. Only made 5 penalties. He's 6th in hits allowed. Only allowed 1 hit. He's 36th in total pressures allowed. He's allowed 26 pressures. Now, I get the lack of play a little bit because he was on a Ravens team that was pretty beat up with the outing of Lamar Jackson in certain games. So they had I believe Tyler Huntley. So there were a lot of just not being ready because you have a different quarterback every different game. You know what I mean? Because Lamar Jackson wasn't there and they're used to Lamar. They won't allow a hit on Lamar because Lamar is going to run away real quick. But when they have a backup in, they don't know what that backup's going to do. They don't know what the backup's going to make in a situational spot. That's why a hit will be allowed. But he still is a star center in this league. He's one of the best. His overall grade in the PFF range, that's what I'm going off of blocking wise grades. His overall grade is 80. He's 5th out of 40 centers with that grade. In pass blocking, his grade is 63.4, about 22nd through the 40 centers. And run blocking, which is really great, he's overall graded 83.7, which is 4th in out of all 40 centers. So his pass blocking can be better, and that can be better coached better through through the coaching of somebody like Cole Popovich, and as well as getting the chemistry with the other guys. But like I said, he's 6'2", inch less taller than Jake Andrews, so the size does matter when you go up against these 6'7", 6'8" defensive tackles, or defensive edges that come in to make a stump blitz, or even the linebackers in general. He's a great run blocker, but the pass blocking does look a little sus about it. So it's kind of one of those where I'd love to have him, but I don't necessarily want to throw the bag as much as he's asking for. So that's why I'm kind of not too much on Texans wanting to go after him. So I kind of say he can stay with Ravens or he can go on somewhere else. But I'd love him on this team. Of course I would, but he's not going to be I don't feel he's the right pick for the Texans and what we're going to run. Next option in free agency, Cade Mays, who is 6'6", 325 pounds, 26 years old, big guy, big tall guy. He signed a 1-year restricted free agent tender with Carolina in 2025 to become an unrestricted free agent in this 2026 season. So he's right now in the free agent market. The free agency market period don't start until March. Texans are a top team expected to go after Cade Mays. There's been rumors that they've been one of the teams ready to make a push at him. So far what they're saying about his market value is potentially he could be asking for a 3 to 4 year deal worth 12 to 20 million a year. So that's not terrible. That's not too much of a bag thrown like Tyler Linderbaum. So he is a center that we could go after. He has veteran experience. He exceeded expectation when playing with Carolina. Look at them; they made it to the playoffs when nobody thought that they would have. It could have been Atlanta, it could have been Tampa, but Carolina got into the playoffs from their offense. Even if their offense was a little ineptitude at times, but they were still there. But let's get into Cade Mays about who he is. He played as center for Carolina for 726 snaps throughout the season, and with his PFF grades. He's first in sacks allowed. He allowed 0 sacks. Fourth in penalties. He only occurred 2 penalties. 21st in hits allowed. He only allowed 3 hits. Ninth in total pressures. Only allowed 11 pressures. Especially when you look at Tyler Linderbaum, who allowed 26 pressures. So 11 to 26. That's a big comparison. But he does have far less snaps than him. His overall grade in general is 62, which ranks him 24th out of 40. Pass blocking, he's 69. His grade is 69, which is 13th out of 40. But his run blocking grade is 58, which is 33rd out of 40 centers. So the pass blocking is pretty all right, but the run blocking is a little bit far less worse than Jake Andrews. So that's kind of something we got to put in our minds about who he is, about how he can do when a formation is settled and when the play starts and when the play happens. We can't ask the running backs to do everything. We can't ask the running backs to just dodge every single defender coming at them. No, they need to be protected. They need to be the defenders need to be blocked. The running back needs to be protected. We can't let the running back do everything, which was what we had Joe Mixon doing all last season. Joe Mixon was honestly the savior for us the previous season. Because he knew how to get out of blocks. He knew how to get out of tackles. He found his hole quick. And when you look at this season with running backs like Woody Marks and Nick Chubb, in-aged Nick Chubb, young up-and-comer of Jawar Jordan, they need their blockers. They're not the veterans. Nick Chubb is a veteran, but he's not the veteran that he was. He's a shell of his former self. He's not the former looking like an MVP running back anymore. You saw his age, and Nick Chubb isn't going to be with the Texans no more. We already know that. So we might draft a running back, sign a running back. We'll see. We'll get into a video like that once before free agency starts as well, like the center position video. But like I said, we can't let these running backs do everything by themselves. We need this offensive line to be great, even better than this year, like far better than this year's, which they were good this year. So somebody like Cade Mays, at most, it'd be an all right signing. Like I'd say, it'd be an all right signing. We're not comfortable with it, but I'd say he still is an upgrade over Jake Andrews. All right. Next and last free agent is Connor McGovern. He's 6'5", 318 pounds, 28 years old. In 2023, he signed a 3-year, $22 million deal with the Buffalo Bills, set to void this month, making him an unrestricted free agent. So far from what they're saying about his market value, it's estimated at a 3-year, $48 million deal. So he is a strong center to go after. He's like Tyler Linderbaum. He's one of the top few best that you can throw the bag at and know you're going to get a good and really good veteran. But the thing is, I believe the Bills might throw the bag, like keep him on a team friendly deal, throw the bag at him. I don't know. We're going to see once free agent starts. Who knows? He might just go away from the Bills because the Bills you already see they're not going to make it as far as they hope anymore. You feel like the Bills are losing their contention at where they hope to be from the start of the era of Josh Allen. You don't think they're going to make it anymore because they're just not that team anymore. But when you look at somebody like the Texans, great defense, hopefully an up and coming offense with a good protected O line. If you bring somebody like Connor McGovern in, I would love to bring him in because he's a well-timed vet. He's been in this league for a minute now. He's 26 in penalties, only causing 5 penalties. First in sacks allowed, he has allowed 0 sacks. 12th in hits allowed, he's allowed only 2 hits. 16th in total pressures, only allowed 14 pressures. His PFF grade overall is 69, ranking him 15th out of 40. Pass blocking grade, he's 70. He has a 73 grade, making him 6th out of 40. And run blocking, it's graded 65, which is 20th out of 40. So somebody like Connor McGovern, who has a good size, 6'5", a good size at 318 pounds, good run and pass blocking grades, like you see about high 60 grade on the run blocking, highish pass blocking grade was 73. That's good. That's what we need. But like I said, I don't know if we're going to be the team that can acquire him. Like I said, I truly believe the Buffalo Bills might retain them, but we'll see. Free agency is a different animal. We could throw a curveball and not go after Cade Mays and go after somebody like Connor McGovern, but we shall see. And those are the top 3 free agents that I got so far. Those are the top 3 guys I believe we will go after. Top 2 guys that to throw the bag at, but one guy as well, which is Cade Mays, who is there because there's rumors about Texans going after him. But with these 3 guys, I wouldn't be mad because they are still upgrades over somebody like Jake Andrews, because we can't run back Jake Andrews at center again, and we all know that. Now, let's get into the college players coming in from the collegiate level, coming into the pro level, waiting to see who they're picked by at the draft. Number 1 center that we're all hearing about is center Jake Slaughter from Florida. He's 6'4", good size, 305 pounds, good weight, 23 years old. He's ranked among the nation's best centers in the college level. He's projected to be a high value first round pick or early day 2 pick. So with our picks, he could fall to us, but there are teams that can still trade up in the first round and desperately acquire him because they want protection for their quarterback, for their potential quarterback that they draft, or just in general to have because they want to upgrade their center position just like we do. Because the offensive line in general nowadays needs to be better than it was, because these defensive players are getting bigger, stronger, and just more lethal. So you need to upgrade your offensive line just as much as we do, and that's why we gotta study these college players coming in, because if we pick the right one, then he could be somebody like Ariante Ursary, who we know is going to be our future left tackle. So we need that for our future center. But with Jake Slaughter, he played 748 snaps as center for Florida. He's 105th. So there's 306 centers. So he's 105th in sacks allowed, only allowed 1 sack. He's 258th in penalties allowed. He's only incurred 7 penalties. He's 86th in hits allowed. He only allowed 1 hit. He's 17th in total pressures allowed. He's allowed only 4 pressures. So, and with the amount of great teams he's played in his collegiate level, that is great, coming off of this season. That's why he is the top rated center coming into this draft. He is PFF's first team All-American from 2024. His comparison so far from early draft comparison is to 3-time All-Pro center Frank Ragnow of the Detroit Lions. So when you look at Jake Slaughter, you can go look at the tape. You see that he's a great center, a great leader, a great blocker. His overall grade is 79, which ranks him 8th out of 306 centers. His pass blocking is 84.1, 18th out of 306 centers. And his run blocking is 80, which is 3rd out of 306 centers. So getting somebody like Jake Slaughter would be nice. Because 6'4" is a good size. And, it just all depends on what we do. If we go after somebody like Cade Mays, say you still don't feel safe with him, I'd still say screw it. Go draft Jake Slaughter. Go draft him early. I don't care, because we need to protect CJ. We need to have somebody that is well communicated with CJ, not just somebody that you think, is gonna do the job but doesn't do the job. So do what you can, protect CJ as much as you can, and that's just all that matters. Just protect CJ, because you saw what happened this season. Nick Caserio needs to go after it when doing this. So getting the center position is what we need, and it's key. But that's just the first center in this collegiate level that I'm going to go after. That I say for the Texans to go after. The second one is Connor Lew, straight coming out of Auburn. He's 6'3", 293 pounds, 20 years old. He's ranked alongside Jake Slaughter as a nation's best center in the collegiate level. The other good thing about him, his draft projection is ranging in around the late first round selection to about early/late day 2, day 3. But I believe he will be picked by day 2. But there's sometimes where centers that may be the second or third best, or just an offensive line in general. They may be the second or third best, but still get picked before the first best in the first round. You know what I mean? We've seen this in all these previous drafts before. But let's get into Connor Lou Moore. He's played 420 snaps as center for Auburn, 112th in penalties, three penalties against him. He's 206th in sacks allowed, 2 sacks allowed, first in hits allowed with 0 hits. He's 17th in total pressures allowed. He's only allowed 4 total pressures. His PFF overall grade is 67, ranking him 82nd. Pass blocking grade is 71, which is 160th. Run blocking grade is 64.9, which ranks him 89th in the collegiate level of centers. So he isn't terrible. I believe he is an average center. I believe coming into the NFL level, he can be an average center, which wouldn't be terrible to grab. Of course, under the coaching of Cole Popovich, the veteran leadership with all of our guys, they can help him out. But I feel, he can be a safe pick, but you still hope to get somebody like Jake Slaughter. You've seen the grades, you see the comparison. Jake Slaughter's still the best one, but say Jake Slaughter, say we didn't pick anybody in free agency. Say Jake Slaughter got picked already. If Connor was there, say with our early third pick, or if we trade back, depending on what Nick Caserio does, which he loves to do, which is trade back, Connor Lou would not be a terrible pick, but we'll see as we go. But with Connor Lou also, in two consecutive seasons, he was awarded with the Remington Trophy watch list for Nation's Best Center. His comparison is to 49ers center Matt Hennessy, which is a good comparison. That's a leader. Even though Matt Hennessy is an old age veteran backup for Niners, he's still a well-timed veteran. So comparing him to him, that's pretty well. So, but like I said, Connor Lou is not my immediate first pick, but if he's there, if Jake Slaughter's picked before him, you just got to say, screw it, let's get him. Because we need to be desperate when we can, but not too desperate. We got to be evaluating this talent as much as we can to make sure this will be the center that protects the hell out of CJ better than Jake Andrews. Last center in this collegiate level is Parker Brailsford, who's coming out of Alabama. He's 6'2", so it's kind of a size I don't like. He's 290 pounds, 22 years old, really young, less weight. He's had a strong college career with Washington, then transferred to Alabama. He's considered an early/late day 2 or day 3 projection. His comparison is crazy enough compared to Tyler Linderbaum, which you see the size, kind of same size, same almost weight. So who knows? Maybe he can turn into somebody like Tyler Linderbaum under good coaching, like say with Connor Lou, under good coaching. But he is, I believe he is somebody you got to work on. Maybe give him a year or give him a few games, see how he does in preseason. But I don't know if we're ready to go after somebody like him because he is fresh. He is too fresh. You need somebody that's NFL ready. We can't work on projects anymore. We can't. We're in this contention of we know where we need to be with the AFC Championship game, with the Super Bowl, and if we don't have the right center like we had in this previous season, like with Jake Andrews, we're not going to make it there, just as we once did already. But still with Parker, he's played 905 snaps at center for Alabama. He only allowed 14 pressures throughout the season, allowed only 1 sack, only 1 total hit. His pass blocking grade ranges around 82 to 84. His run blocking grade ranges around 65, 72. In 2025 preseason, he was 2025's preseason All-American and 2-time 2025 SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week, which is good. That is great to hear. It's just I still don't feel safe if we pick him. He's an Alabama guy. Domingo loves his Alabama guys. It's just one of those things. We can't be desperate. We were desperate with the Kenyon Green pick. Look what happened to Kenyon Green. It was terrible. We had good picks in the late rounds picking offensive linemen. We've had good outcomes when signing free agents like somebody like Trent Brown. That was a great signing. Ed Ingram, great signing. Picking Arion Dershowitz, great pick. We can't be desperate. We are desperate for center, but we can't be desperate when just saying, screw it, let's pick him. He's the only guy left at center. No, we can't do that. We got to go after who we believe we need to go after. If we throw the bag at Tyler Linderbaum, great. That's great. That's center position solidified. If we sign Connor McGovern, great. Once again, Cade Mays, you feel iffy about it. I'd still say draft another center just to be in depth. Uh, if you sign Cade Mays, go after Parker. It's one of those things where you just want depth at that center position. Have a center position battle because that's what you need to protect your quarterback CJ from having damn PTSD from getting hit. We can't have him moping on the sideline, scared to make a play because he's having every dot of the situation happening, whether he gets hit, whether he gets knocked out. That's why CJ has been so scared to play certain games because he doesn't trust his O line. And the thing I need D'Amico to stop doing is stop playing first team versus first team. That defense line is too dangerous for this work of art in the offensive line because they're still a work in progress. You can't put them against the top defensive line in the league. That's just having them get killed every single practice, which is why in training camp this past season, a lot of people were talking about that. Why do you have your first team all defensive line killing the shit out of your offensive line when they're not even worked on? They're not even progressed. They're not even settled on who's the starter at tackle position, at guard position, at center position. We can't do that no more. Put in the second team defense. Give the offensive line, a break to work around each other, to communicate, being like, hey, there's that guy. Maybe take Daniil out, keep Will Anderson in. Then they can work on just only focusing on one killer defensive end instead of two, and with the defensive tackles too, with somebody like Tommy Togiai, who is an up-and-coming great defensive tackle, with somebody like Lakey for two, and the other guys that we got, especially with the linebackers that we got that can attack this offensive line. So we need to stop doing that dumb crap of, oh, we feel kind of like, that's how D'Amico is. Oh, we feel kind of safe with this offensive line, so let's just kill the shit out of them in training camp. No, because that's what makes them play scared, because they're thinking that every week, they're going to see that defense line with the Texas defense line, and then they got to go play somebody else's defense line. They're playing fatigued. They're playing rattled because they don't know what to expect because of how good this defensive is. So it's messing with their heads. It's messing with CJ's head because of how good our leadership is on the defense. So we need to stop that. We need to give this offensive line a break. We need them to get adjusted, win in training camp, win in offseason mode, win in preseason mode. That's all. Just give them time to progress. Don't rush their progression. That's all we got to do. But those are the three free agent signings that we can make. Those are the three college players that we can possibly draft. Texans early picks this year. To draft these centers are in this year's draft are number pick 28, pick 38, pick 59, and also pick 69, which is day one, day two. Those are day one and day two picks, and the 69 is, I believe, the early day three pick, which is still could still be there for a good center. You see Nick Caserio and Cole Popovich there at the Senior Bowl. They're all watching the centers. They're all watching the guards. So that's good. That's good knowing that those guys are there, knowing they want to pick the right guy to protect CJ. Like I said, size definitely matters. Weight definitely matters. We need to make sure that their run blocking is better than Jack Andrews. We need to make sure our run game blocking is better, our pass game blocking is better, our communication is better with CJ, with the rest of the guys. That's all we need to do. If we had communication better, if we had better blocking in general at the center position, especially run blocking, you never know. We could have won that Patriots game, but due to the blocking as well as CJ's ineptitude as a sorry-ass quarterback making dumb decisions, that ended up being the downfall of our season. But like I said, any of these players, I believe, will be an upgrade over Jake Andrews. Parker, like I said, he's a project. So that's why I say if you sign a center and you want to draft him, that's fine. He's a project. At least you have a signing of like somebody like Cade Mays. So I wouldn't be too mad. At least you have a project under a good leader, under a good veteran. So that's all I got, guys. This is the center position of who I believe we should get, whether it be, like I said, college level or the free agency signings. But if you have anybody in the center position, whether it be free agency, whether that be the collegiate level, put in the comments, talk about it. I'll talk about it with y'all. I definitely want your communication with me. I love the comments I get on my TikTok. I love the comments that I get on my YouTube. It is great to see. I love that my channel is getting, having progress, and I'm happy about that. I'm so glad to see people I'm so glad to see Texas fans arguing with other Texas fans about why our team lost when talking about CJ or based on the offense. There are a lot of things that a lot of key things that are the reason why we lost, uh, and that's why we're making videos like these because we want to have the Texans address these miscues, which is like the center position, which is why I'm making this video. We're hoping that Nick Casario, D'Amico Ryans, Cole Bobovich, Nick Haley, we're hoping that they make the right call on the right people that we sign or we draft to make this offense better. But that's all we got, guys. That's me talking Texas football. I really enjoy making these videos for y'all. I love y'all so much for getting this channel up to where it's at. I want to get up to 100 subscribers. Let's get to it. Please like this video, share this video. I'm gonna share it out to TikTok, everywhere I got it, everywhere I got social media. Comment on this video, show it some love. For it to be on your For You pages, show it to anybody else's For You page. Get it where it can be seen because this is the Texans fan. This is a Texans fan show. We're going to be talking nothing about Texans throughout this off season. This isn't going to die out because the off season may be quiet. I'm going to be talking Texans as much as I can. No matter what news breaks out, I'm still going to make videos, even if it's videos throwing it back to the past for, say, nostalgic fans, throwing it to the future for what we can hopefully see in the future coming into this next season. So that's all I got, guys. I want y'all to stay with this channel. We're going to keep growing and growing. Let's get it to where it needs to be. Shout out to JDW. Shout out to my boy DJ. Be cool. The Colts fans that we will be making Just a Rival podcast soon. We will be coming back soon. Shout out to Soft Sports. Shout out to Honcho, Wink, Spitz, Tinny, everybody on there. I appreciate all of y'all. Y'all always show out and show my videos out, especially Big B. Appreciate you too. Appreciate all of y'all. And I can't thank y'all enough. This is HOU Bull Cast. This is Aaron. Thank y'all once again. Y'all have a great week. Let's see who wins the Super Bowl. Y'all have a great day.